Hey guys, welcome to another session of FFBE Global News. So this week is going to be Hype City because everybody has been waiting for Hyoh. Now obviously there are some people that have mentioned over and over on the YouTube comments that I've seen that, I'm not too hyped about Hyoh. I'll try to pull for him, but it's okay if I don't get him. But majority, everyone has been hyped about him. Now, I myself am hyped because I know the potential that he brings to the meta right now. He will be the lead of our true double hand chaining kind of meta going forward, and so he's really the originator. A lot of his skills. If you're a new player to FFBE, you've heard about Hyoh, maybe you never played JP. Basically, using Hyoh will give you so much information of how backloading works, of how true double hand chainers work, etc. And so he's really hype for me, especially. And this whole banner is actually not terrible when we regard the 4-star and the 3-star TMRs as well. So let's get into it really quick. So coming this Friday, we'll have a step up. Now this step up is the same as JP, where it's an 11k step up. Like I've mentioned before, we do have lower rates than JP, where in the 11k step ups, usually JP players get increased rates as you're going up the steps. I think it starts as like a 1.5 and then it ends up being a 2 at a step 3 and 4, and a 5 times rate for Hyoh. Now we don't get that, and a lot of people have been asking, should they go for the 11k and or the 25k step up, which I'll get into. But first, let's deal with this. So 11k step ups, there's a 5 times rate of getting Hyoh, which I believe ends up being something like about 18 or 19%, because it's a 25% rate. So 5% to get a rainbow on a 10+1 summon, times 5 is 25%, but then accounting for all the other off-banner rainbows. Now there's a high chance of getting Hyoh, but a lot of people and myself have had really bad experience with the 11k step up. So it's up to you. Obviously it costs cheaper, but you're really risking not guaranteeing a Hyoh at the end. Now obviously we have seen people, and even I know there's a YouTuber that got like 5 Reagans on like the last step, but there's also a member on our Discord server. His name is Magamra, so shout out to you, dude. He had 5 times rate, so I really thought that he was that YouTuber, but when he showed his screenshot, he got 5 Reagans, but they were in a different position than the actual YouTuber, so it was quite interesting. So I mean, obviously there are going to be people with good luck, so it's up to you if you want to gamble that, but I myself, I might not. Let's get into Hyoh here. So here we go. So 7-star right off the bat as you pull them. If pull 2 of them, I mean. His super trust mastery, I do have to make sure I make this clear. So a lot of misconceptions, because it doesn't look like a lightsaber, or rather because his LB has a lot of fire. So a lot of people just presume that this is a fire elemental weapon. It's a neutral element. Alright, so when you're considering this, 180 attack is not bad, but it's also one-handed, which means that this won't be Hyoh's best in slot neutral weapon. Alright, so keep that in mind. I personally don't recommend anyone pull for his STMR. If you have the resources and you're a whale, I would say go for it. If you're free to play and you think you have the resources to pull for the STMR, I would still recommend you don't do it, because ideally you want Cloud's STMR, which is also 180 attack, but it has a higher damage variance because it's a 2-handed weapon and it's a neutral element. So it's identical in the attack, but the output damage, Cloud's STMR would be the better choice anyway. The only reason I would say to even get this STMR is for dual wielder. Alright, dual wielders would probably get the most benefit from this STMR, but I would say no rush. If you guys ever caught my JP episodes, I was super hyped for my first Hyoh. I UoC'd, or unit of choice, the second Hyoh, and I made him 7-star. And eventually I got two 7-stars, and it's only recently that I actually fused to the super trust mastery, because A2 and 2B have 7-star in JP, and I wanted to give 2B, who's a dual wielder, a really strong large sword, so that's why I got the super trust mastery. Otherwise there's really no need to do it. In my opinion, I think even Squall's TMR, which is at 150 attack, but it's because it's a 2-handed weapon, you have a higher chance of doing higher damage than this weapon, so definitely recommend that you guys think about that. Trustmaster reward is also really good. It's clothes with 28 attack. Not only is this good on Hyoh, it's good on like almost every single damage, physical damage unit. Because it's clothes, it's easily accessible to probably the best damage dealers. So even if this isn't going on Hyoh, let's say you put this on a Sephiroth, or you put this on let's say Reagan, or any of your dual wielders, maybe Orlando, because it gives Blade Master, it has an ability with the clothes itself. It gives Blade Master, it boosts attack by 30% when equipped with a large sword. It becomes one of the best. Plus it has 28 attack, which is, I think, is the highest clothing attack in a Trustmaster, not counting Super Trustmaster. So it's really good. It'll come in handy for sure. I would say if you eventually, say that, hey, I want to instant trust Moogle both my Hyoh's TMRs, I would say this one's actually worth it. It's pretty good. It's definitely pretty good. Some featured abilities: Phantom Blade, which is I think it's a 6 hit. It's a backloaded hit as well, so 7 hit. It is Orlando chaining family, though you only get this I think once every 5 turns, and it's a 4-turn cooldown, but available on turn 5. And the reason why is because it's actually really strong. So it's a split. So backloaded hits are equivalent. It's a summary of 2 separate hits. So if you're reading stats on wikis, you might see like, oh, it's 6 hits, and then you see a 1 hit at the end. That's what the backloading is. So total, it's a 7 hit, and I do believe this is a Divine Ruination chaining family, so Orlando chaining family, and it's a 2.8 times physical attack modifier with a 50% ignore. So that is a 5.2 times, and then the very last hit, the backloaded hit, is also the same, another 5.2, but you get 5.6. My math is really bad in the morning. 5.6 physical attack modifier. But how backloading works is that the 6 hits, you actually divide the total modifier into 6, so you get like pretty minimal damage. If you're watching him chaining on screen, you'll see like minimal damage, and then on the 7th hit, like all of a sudden a big boom. And that's what a backloading hit is. Basically, if you chain someone with the exact same chaining, basically the chain modifier, as you're building it up, it's building up for that backloaded hit. So you don't really get, at the end, you don't get a 5.6 times physical attack modifier on the last hit. You get whatever the chain output was. Now, knowing that a spark chain and elemental chaining will change the amount of chain hits you need to get the maximum chain modifier, I think if you spark elemental chain, I think it's 8 hits, and then you can get max chain mod. So basically, that's what you want to go for, and that's what a backloaded chainer is for. So really, Hyoh or other backloaded chainers won't really shine by themselves. Like they'll do good damage, but the damage won't be. It'll still be better than a dual wielder. If you don't chain a dual wielder, if you don't chain Hyoh, Hyoh will still do more damage because of that backloaded hit, right? So just give you guys an example, Orlando with Divine Ruination +2, so enhanced, has a 2.6 times physical attack mod with a 50% ignore. That equals 5.2 times. So 5.2 times, if you don't count the elemental imperil and elemental weapon, he actually does a lot weaker damage. Now that's a 7 hit, which means the 5.2 times physical damage is divided by 7. Now what I said about Hyoh in that specific move, even though that's a cooldown skill, so it doesn't really count, it's supposed to be overpowered, it's a 5.6 times attack divided by 6, and then another 5.6 straight at the very end. So regardless, you're gonna do a lot more damage with a backloaded chainer. Now I'm gonna go to the Servant of the Blade. This is the main skill you're gonna be using. Servant of the Blade is pretty much the equivalent of Divine Ruination, the Heavens Wept for Sephiroth, the main chaining skill. This is the Orlando chaining family skill. Now this has okay, so don't be scared, but it's still pretty good. Okay, it has a 0.5 times physical attack for 6 hits, total of 7. 6 hits, 0.5, and then an AoE. So it's a single target. 6 hit first, and then an AoE 1.8 times physical attack modifier with a 50% ignore defense, making it a 3.6. The 3.6 sounds low, but like I said, how backloaded chains work is that, one, it's a separate hit at the end, so it's not divided in the first 6 hits. And secondly, you ideally do want to work with a chainer. So it doesn't have to be a duplicate chainer, it doesn't have to be Hyoh himself, even though you'll get the most damage output that way. But it could be Reagan, it could be Sephiroth, it could be Orlando, it could be Fravia, it could be a whole number of units that have Divine Ruination chaining frames. So this is definitely something to look forward to. You guys, if you guys have seen videos and you know, for new players, you would have seen that Hyoh does massive damage, and that is the reason why. The second thing is Ruthless Blade. It's a 6 hit, single target, 6 hit, two times physical attack mod with an AoE 6 hit of a 1.5 physical attack mod. So this is a Onion Knight chaining family, so perfectly chains with Onion Knight. Now it does get hard if you're trying to aim for AoE chaining with Onion Knight. So full speed Blade Blitz, I believe it's a 2.5 times mod if I'm not mistaken. It's hard to AoE chain with Ruthless Blade. You only get this last 6 hits with Ruthless Blade. But if you are doing single target, it does chain with all of Onion Knight's pre-enhancement Splendor skills. So it does have potential. At least Hyoh is available with 2 chaining families, and I would say pretty decent chaining families. It definitely gets you out of the pickle here. Hyoh does have more skills, but I do want to save some of it for a future video. I want to feature Hyoh in a future video and really get into the nitty-gritty on his builds, on what to do when you're fighting and using him, and so new players can learn from it. I would say this, he does have 2 skills as well. As some of you may know, you want to have at least 3 weapons ready for him. 1 very strong neutral elemental weapon, and at least a lightning weapon, lightning large sword, and a fire large sword. Now, because he has Orlando chaining frames again for these 2, Voltage Blade and Flame Blade. 7 hits, they're not backloaded, 7 hits just like Divine Ruination, but it's a 3.5 times physical attack with an imperil of 60% for each of the elements. So Voltage Blade has a 60% lightning imperil, Flame Blade has a 50% lightning imperil, and because even at a 6-star, Hyoh will be able to learn a dual cast ability skill. So he can cast, let's say, Voltage Blade and then Servant of the Blade. If he has like Tonitrus, the lightning large sword, doing that will give you a 60% imperil on your Servant of the Blade attack, which if you do the math, it does a lot more damage. So it's overall really good, but I think that's what I want to end off with, at least get you guys hyped about the damage output he has. He does have some buffs, he does have some other stuff on him that will make him a bit more useful, but other than that, I would say Hyoh is very oriented towards damage. He's not so much of a party player, as in he doesn't have any support aspects for other members of the party. Everything is pretty much for himself, but that's what makes him cool. He's ruthless, man. And another thing is Hyoh in Japanese, I think it means leopard, but it's a Japanese black leopard. So it does look like a panther, but leopards I think are bigger in body size. So it's really cool. If you look at his helmet in his CG animation, you will see that it does resemble a face of a leopard. Shatal is, I would only go to the Trust Master here. It's really good large shield. This is definitely competitive with something like Bosch's shield. If you're going straight for the spirit and you're not regarding the lightning resistance that comes with Bosch's shield or the 10% evasion. But for pure spirit, this is definitely really good. So I mean, if you're pulling for Hyoh, more than likely you're gonna get him anyway from the steps, and even if you're pulling tickets, you'll more than likely get him as well. Domino is very good as well. Definitely for 3-star, the Trustmaster reward is really good. This is comparable to L's, or some people call Ellie. Ellie's DMR, Arsha's Talisman, which gives a 10% defense and 10% spirit split with a 20% HP. Domino's boost is very focused on defense, as you can see, 15% defense instead of the 10% spirit. That's out. but it also nullifies paralysis, so that comes in handy for sure. Let's say if your unit has like almost all of the nasty status ailments, you put on Domino's boots and then you have a nullified paralysis, but then you get a HP 20% to boot. And I mean, again, depending on how much you pull, it might be really easy for you to get her TMR. So definitely a really good banner all around. I would say all units are rated high in my kind of rating in usefulness. All right, and we have this featured step up summon. Now, this news video is obviously made in lieu of that whole unit of choice fiasco. Now I'm gonna talk about it a bit more. Now some people have said that, oh, this is really good, we got the step up, this 25k guaranteed step up. You know, it's probably to appease the people outraging at the unit of choice fiasco. I myself, I'm not 100% sure about that. I do know that this kind of step up, and even just programming it, I mean, it's not hard when they just take a template like the code for another step up, but the thing is they do have to run through like quality assurance tests, so QA tests and whatnot. So I think this was actually planned long before the unit of choice thing, to be honest, and I was kind of expecting Gumi to pull something like this. I mean, if you pull 25k, there's no loss to them. The fact that is, you know, you'll get the unit you want at least, but 25k is not cheap. If you're you know, if you're a whale or pay to play player, 25k is more than $100 USD. So I mean, they're not losing anything from creating this, but I'm glad from a player's perspective. I'm very glad that they implemented this. I think this is what I'm going for on the day of Hyoh's release, because I did have one Awakened Rain, because when I pulled him and Medina, I got 2 Medinas and 1 Rain, but I pulled tickets and I didn't feel that I needed a second Rain immediately. This coming from my experience in JP, knowing that Awakened Rain is just like inserted into the most random banners in JP. Like this probably won't be the last time he comes out, by the way. So if you're pulling on the step up and you get a Hyoh at the end, and that was what you're aiming for, don't feel the need to get your Awakened Rain right away. Even though I will say that Awakened Rain is available to 7-star immediately by Thursday, so even before the banner drops. So even if you have 2 Awakened Rains, you can get him right now at 7-star on Thursday after the maintenance. I myself, I will definitely be pulling for this, because regardless of which one I get, it's not a loss for me. So my plan is at least 25,000 Lapis to get one of the guaranteed there. I'm actually more so hoping for Rain. I know that sounds kind of crazy, hoping for Rain, because at least I can get Rain guaranteed, and then maybe pull the 11k on Hyoh, and then maybe pull some tickets for him. But I don't think I'm gonna double dip and do a 50,000 Lapis on this step up. If you guys watched my previous Theorycraft video, I did speculate that Secret of Mana or other collabs can come really quickly. I mean, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider is released, I think, already this week. So, I mean, just hang on to your seats, guys. I think there's a reason why Gumi doesn't announce these collabs. So you'll be, you know, you'll be a Lapis poor by the collabs, and then maybe spend. It's all very smart. It's all a smart marketing ploy. So be very careful. Don't be baited into this. I would definitely recommend get 2 Hyohs and get out. Like I said before, his STMR is not that worth it. Even if you need a chaining partner, I would say 90% of your friends list will probably be Hyoh after Friday anyway. We talked about Hyoh here. Let's move on. Let's talk about Rain and the Super Trust Master and what I think about it. Super Trust Master reward, Knight's Medal, attack 30, defense 30, magic 30, spirit 30, very solid all around. What I like about the most is that boosts all elemental resistance by 30%. On an accessory, that is incredible. I would say this is probably the best accessory for elemental resistance. 30%. I mean, you're not gonna get something like this easily for all elements and on an accessory slot. I would say this is definitely a worth it one. So if you had 2 Awakened Rain prior, I would still recommend you pull on this banner. Hopefully you land at least 2 Awakened Rains. Another thing is actually this banner, Awakened Rain is has a higher rate of dropping throughout all 5 steps. So to keep that in mind. It's not just Hyoh that is increased there in that whole banner, but Awakened Rain is as well, but not in the 11k. At a 7-star, he does get a lot of good stuff. I don't think this is featuring the best abilities. One of the most used abilities on him, I would say, is his cooldown skill. His cooldown skill, another cooldown skill, is like Mistia's buff. So it gives stop resistance AoE for a party, but it's cooldown, 3-turn cooldown, and available on turn 1. And it lasts for 3 turns. So you can cycle it infinitely as long as Awakened Rain doesn't die. Okay, so cooldown skills, the bad thing is once it dies, it kind of, you have to wait another turn before the cooldown skill finishes. It has boost stop, boost all elemental resistance, and I think it has boost break resistance as well built in it. It's been a while since I've like actually really looked at it, but I think it does. I remember he like combines both shield and Misty like the best. The only thing he doesn't have is charm resist. That's the only thing that's missing from that, but I would say that's too broken. If you wanted something that has like all resistance, wait for CG Folka or Folka. She'll be able to dual cast and give you all resistance. So that's that's it for this banner. The color of heartlessness. Wow, man, that sounds really deep. Now, even in JP, as I was playing any story scene with Hyoh, even though I skipped the story in global, I know a lot of you guys are saying that, man, Jagan, you really gotta like read the story, but I think it's a little too late. Maybe one day I will. But on JP's side, I do know some spoilers, and I won't spoil it at all. I won't spoil that at all. Only to say that his storyline is actually really cool. Rain's storyline is really cool. It's one of probably the most enjoyable ones to me. Now you may be asking, how do you know the story? Just by watching the pictures. It's definitely like, even on JP, I'm hanging there. Even though I can't read all of the text, I'm actually going like step by step and actually reading the text. I'm not just like skipping the scenes entirely. But anyways. Hopefully you guys enjoy the new story here. We get a select summon ticket, so obtain a UoC ticket through the story event by clearing the New Order's dungeon. Well, that's interesting because they didn't have this in JP. So I will discuss all of the unit of choice stuff in one batch at the very end of this news video, but just to say that a bonus stage has appeared. So I think from here on out we're gonna get our 90 energy extra stage. I mentioned this over and over in my previous news video. I think we're gonna get it. This time we've got it. All right, we got a thumbnail proving what I said before was gonna come. It's just that in all the previous news videos it just never came because I misunderstood. But in this one, apparently is the first one, so be very careful because look at what the little mog says. This time the bonus stages are harder than ever before. Bring your strongest party and rise to the challenge, Kupo. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff to do this weekend. Oh man, I don't think I have enough time to actually clear them all. But we have trials, we have this. You have to consider this a trial, okay, pretty much. And yes, the rest of the things is pretty much the self-explanatory. You get the story on the first week. On the second week, you get the caves, the crystal caves. So if you need to grind your Chris for ability awakenings, definitely do that on the second week. Don't bother repeating the story for those crystals. It's just not worth it. Let's see here. Anything else? Anything else that's new? The limited equipment, I have to say, this is really awesome too. Hyoh's glove, 20 attack, and it enables a boost 15% with equipped with large sword. This is really good for new players, and I would say it's even good for me if I'm running like a 10-man trial. I'm running out of attack equipment. This is actually pretty good. And I would say also the sledge tonfa is really good. Hyoh can use fists. And apparently, even though this thing doesn't look like a fist, it's considered a fist. And it's a two-handed weapon. So on JP recently, I said that JP in Final Fantasy VII, Barrett's, like one of Barrett's arms, I was like, oh man, this is the first two-handed fist, right? But no, apparently this is. And because I missed the story event for Hyoh on JP, this is also my first time actually going to be playing this, so it's going to be quite interesting. Why I would mention that this is good for Hyoh is because it's a two-handed weapon. Okay, so it does work with him. It's just that you're gonna lose the large sword mastery kind of passives on him, but it has man-eater, so something to consider. Maybe you're taking on a human and you want a higher damage variance. Two-handed weapons always have higher damage variance. This might be a good option for Hyoh. It could be, but enable man-eater would be a 50% physical against humans. I think that's it for this one, yes. And the unit intro quest. It feels like it's been forever since we've seen a unit intro quest. The last one was Reagan, and now that feels like quite a while now, because we got Nalu story event in between, so it's like 2 months at least. Hyoh with his new CG limit burst. Now this is one of the coolest CG LBs, along with Axstar, I would say. It's just one of my favorites, and especially he says "Owarida." A lot of you guys who watch my JP videos probably think that's like one of my catchphrases, because I always say "Owarida." I think it means in Japanese like it's finished, or like it's done. Pretty much, it's just when he says this, it's before he attacks. So it's like really cocky of him. It's just like you're done. Like it's it. That's it. And his LB is definitely really good. I forgot to mention his LB on the banner itself, but it's a 19 times damage modifier, but it's AoE 30 hit. The LB cost at 7-star is quite a bit, but 19 times is not the best LB, you would say. But if you chain with another Hyoh, oh man, the damage is nuts. Now his LB actually does have some chaining families, even though the starting frames might be different. The actual hit frames are similar to Sakura, to Awakened Rain, to Rydia, to all the Kid Rydia, by the way, to all the units that have like rapid fire LB attacks. It's chainable with them, so you can do a lot of damage. Now Hyoh is also really cool in the arena because, one, if you're true double hand and you have him geared for true double hand, he'll be able to hit evasion units. Now depending on how much accuracy you have, now you might have some trolls going with 125% evasion or something like that, then Hyoh will still miss if you have 100% accuracy. I know it feels like, oh man, 100% accuracy means you should hit everything, right? But it doesn't really work like that in game, apparently. But more than likely, no arena team was gonna have 120% evasion unit, because it really makes them really susceptible to magic damage. So Hyoh is really good in arena to clear out that stuff, especially if you use that Ruthless Blade, the Onion Knight one. If you guys have watched me play some JP on stream, I don't think I recorded the video sessions for it, but if you watch me play it on stream, then you see me clear out the arena team with 2 Hyohs and use Ruthless Blade, the Onion Knight AoE chaining. Boom, 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 everyone's dead, pretty much. So something to consider. And obviously, if you have 2 of him or even 1 of him and Awakened Rain in your arena party, once they get their LBs, ooh, the other team must fear. The other team must fear. Because you can wipe out the entire team. I have seen like troll teams, AI teams with like a couple Hyohs with Prompto's DMR, so it boosts his LB fill rate by 200% for 3 turns. And basically, if you don't kill them on the first turn, they all spam their LBs, and it's a full party wipe. There's no way you can really survive that. Anyways, yes, we're gonna do his unit intro, and I think on this unit intro video, when I create it, I will go through his skills and we'll kind of go through his unit as a whole, like a review. And at the end of our Dragon Quest collab week, of course, we have March on the Lord of the Underworld. So Eastark is going to be a demon, so this demon killer is effective. Resistance against stop is a must-have, so apparently he stops you. I've never played this on JP, so I'm not quite sure, but they shouldn't be that hard. Build up your fire and dark resistance. That should be quite easy, especially if you have 7-star Awakened Rain. I think that's going to be really easy. Complete the quest, you get your second Marquis de Lune. Marquis de Lune. Ah, man, I have to work on this. Nilu, if you're watching this, he's going to probably laugh at my French accent. But I'm working on my French. And you get your second one. Now, a lot of people have had a really difficult time pulling dupe 3 and 4. If you want his STMR, obviously you need a 4th. But at least you can get him to 7-star guaranteed if you complete this. No items used, you get a 5% trust move, will evoke Shiva, 2 rare summon tickets, and Sword of Kings. 115 attack sword is not that bad, but to make it better, icing on top of the cake, it would have been an elemental with a killer, but that's just asking too much. We gotta kill him with a limit burst to get the sword. Still really good for beginners, so definitely go for this, and good luck. So we also have more trials. This week is definitely going to be busy. Venomous Vines of Death, the Great Marlboro and Marlboro Queen. Now, if we had difficulty with the previous Marlboro, apparently this one's even harder. but at least it's along with the meta right now. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to take this one on yet, because I've never played this one on JP specifically. But anyways, expect a video on this, especially I'll try to fight them on day 1. So fire attack can prove effective. Make sure you want to go with AoE fire attacks. Maybe you want to wait for Transtera as well. Transtera 7-star, because she can quad cast a fire attack chaining. It could be really good, and if I remember correctly, they are pretty strong. And yes, prepare for status ailments, including stop, including charm, single target death, tons of stuff you have to prepare for. Here are the completion rewards for the elite version. Marlboro Shield, 59 defense, 31 spirit, not bad overall. Reduces fire resistance by 50%, but then boosts water resistance by 50% and nullify all status ailments. Very nice to have. I would definitely say this is a highly rated one, even though some people might not see the niche. If you're fighting someone like Leviathan 3-star, which is to come in the future, this shield is almost a must. One, it protects you from status ailments, and it boosts water resistance by 50%, which is no joke. Mission rewards, you get 100 lapis completing it. See here, no items used, 10% trust Moogle. Evoke an Esper 2 times or more, you get Meta Marlboro. Now this is an ability, boost defense and spirit by 30%, not bad overall. Chance to inflicting poison, blind, sleep, silence, paralysis, confusion, disease, and stone when receiving a physical attack. So to counter, this is going to be really good to have in the arena, and I suppose on some story stuff, but I would say arena. Both of them will be mostly arena. Defeat Great Marlboro with a limit burst, bad breath. Remove some status effects and randomly inflict poison, blind, sleep, paralysis, silence, confusion, disease, and stone to all enemies. Again, all status ailments. But it also dispels, so that's pretty nice to have. It's like if the arena team, let's say the arena team has like buffed up status ailment protection, and then you just use this, it dispels it. But I think it's single target. No, it's all enemies. Wow, that's really good. So yeah, dispels the entire party, and then so people should be using ribbons instead, ribbon-like materia to protect yourself from status ailments. But that's all the news I have for this one. I do know that there's a lot of data from JP side, so if you guys are looking to do this, definitely don't rely on me yet until I make this video and know what the heck I'm dealing with. But that's it for this. Scorn of the Two-Headed Dragon. So Chamber of the Indignant, these are growing to be much harder. Now I did take this on in JP. I used the Eject and Hyoh to complete it with a 7-star Wilhelm, Awakened Rain, Ayaka, and CG Nicole, all 7 stars. Took me 40 minutes to fight him. Now, some people, especially people who know me, argue that Jagan, man, you make things more difficult than it is. Possibly, but what makes him hard is that you need to use 2 Esper damage on 2 separate turns before he really dispels himself, like lowers his guard before he can actually really hurt him. And he's resistance to like all elements until you remove his guard, and then he imperils himself, I think like by 300%. It's quite a bit. But what you really need to do is basically auto attack or use LBs. If you use skills or magic, he'll counter like crazy and kill your team. So you want to do auto attacks to get your Esper gauge up while you're taking on his blows. I think on every 3rd turn he dispels your provoke tank, single target. So you want to have a provoke tank physical, and then he buffs his own attack and magic. So yeah, it can get quite tricky. If you guys want to check it out, I mean, it's not the perfect playthrough of it, but I did complete them on JP, so definitely check it out if you want. But the rewards are awesome. Okay, one of the best helmets, Grand Helm Plus, unless it's Gabronth's STMR, which we don't get Gabronth at least yet. You're not going to get a better helmet than this, so definitely go for this. 65 defense, nullify sleep and confusion, and silence, enable extremely heavy armor. And what this does is when you equip a heavy armor, it boosts HP and defense by 30%. So it's absolutely a beast of a reward. Definitely worth the hassle of a 40-minute and possibly 1-hour fight, depending again who you're using. I did have limited units on JP. So perhaps I could do better here on global because I'm more decked out in terms of gear. So you attack the foe's elemental weakness 6 times or more. with 10% trust move. So like I said, he'll debuff himself and imperil himself, and at that point you just want to hit him with a couple like magic attacks or something elemental, and he'll get that. So it's easy to get that 6 times or more. Evoke 3 or more Espers. This is almost a must. You can't beat him if you don't evoke Espers at all, so 3 or more Espers should be really easy. And then also defeat 2-headed dragon with magic. Blood of the Dragon, boost fire, ice, lightning, and resistance by 30%. Really good all-around materia to have. And this one might be the most difficult mission, even though it's still not that hard. If you got 2 chainers, and let's say you even have like CG Nicole as your buffer, you know, just do a Waterja at the end, or Blizzaja at the very end of your chain, and you've got that kill with magic mission. So yes, enjoy this, guys. Enjoy. It's really fun though. It's really fun. And new units. And this is really funny because look at this banner. It says 7-star awakenings are finally unlocked. Yes. Yes, no doubt. Finally unlocked. It feels like it's been forever since a 7-star awakening, if you don't count Dragon Lord, of course. And we only get 1. So for more details how to awaken 7-star units, yeah, go to the tutorial, etc. But you know, tons of videos and content on this, and most likely by the time you're playing this and seeing this video, you know how to awaken 7 stars. So have fun. Awaken Ring gets it this week. Definitely worth it. Hopefully you get 2 of them or have 2 of them already. Awaken him to 7-star, really good. One of the best magic tanks, of course. I don't think we're gonna get the 7-star awakening that was announced in the FFBE official video this week. Now, obviously that's a monthly video, so it does, you know, encompass the entire month of what's happening. So we're missing the 10-man trials, we're missing the 7-star batch with Ayaka and Transterra and Tidus, etc. I think, yeah, if they were released this week, the true trials would be too easy. But they're not, so we're gonna have fun with our 6-star if you're planning to take on those trials in day 1. 5+1 summon. This is a new thing implemented. Again, I am not 100% sure why. Ideally they would give us these 5+1 summon tickets more regularly than like 10+1, or are they replacing this with a 10+1 because they're giving us more unit of choice now? I'm not quite sure, but either way, this is a new feature. It's gonna work the same, I believe, as 10+1, except it's 5 units plus 1 guaranteed gold. I believe that's how it's gonna work, and you can get rainbows out of it, but it's gonna be a 5+1. I have no idea what a 5+1 rate would be. Would it still be a 5% chance to get a rainbow? I'm not 100% sure, actually. I don't think it says this in here, but we'll find out. I think we're gonna get some more data on this, but at least this is new, so yay, more tickets. Now this is the very last thing I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to spend a bit more time dealing with this. Now obviously I made a Theorycraft video on this of what I thought about the unit of choice tickets and how Gumi decided to do it. In that Theorycraft video, I made mention over and over, you know, there's a lot of speculation. I would like more data on it. I would like them to, you know, come out and communicate with us on this before we jump to any conclusions. And I did mention also in that video that the facts are the facts, that we get 1 unit of choice in the King Mog event. We have no other way of getting them. What's the deal with that? Now, I did also say that I was okay with them giving us just 1 unit of choice ticket because of how I play the game. I'm not a free-to-play player where I'm waiting on unit of choice tickets. And yes, that may sound like it's a, you know, I'm being very I don't know, cocky or something like that, but I'm not really. I'm very, very happy they decided to give us a lot more unit of choice tickets this time around, and so I think we're gonna be okay, guys. I think we're gonna be okay. Like I said before, I just want rainbows, so having more unit of choice tickets, yay for me, right? So that's why I made that video before, and it was just to open up the discussion. But I mean, most of you guys, if you're watching this video, you've watched other videos, other YouTubers have come out and said, you know, how it's kind of unfair. And like I said before, I don't like comparing Global to JP, but Global really put themselves in a weird position where they gave us the exact same feature, exact same unit of choice ticket, but then decided to, at that moment at least, decided to keep us from having more than what JP offered. Here's my thing. So I'm okay with whatever decision they make, because I know a lot of people are gonna hate me for saying this, but I believe they are different games, all right? Different exclusives, different events, different collaborations, different ways of marketing, different ways of changing how we acquire certain units or whatnot. Now, the thing about this, saying that we're gonna get a free unit of choice ticket on the 14th, so on Hyoh's drop, we're gonna get a free unit of choice ticket on the 28th, so at the very end of the month. I just think that they should have communicated this to us before, because right now, even though yes, you could be really happy with the tickets, like finally, you know, they listen to us, right? That's great. That's really great. The thing is, as a company itself, I don't think that they were smart in like keeping it from us and then releasing this now. But just because they released this now, it makes them look like they're a company that are pushovers. I know you can say that, yeah, you know, we want companies that listen to the consumers, right? To the people. I totally get it, 100%. I'm with you guys on this. I want them to listen to us too, but why do it now? It just makes them look really terrible, like they're on the run. You know, it's like, okay, all right, we can't take this anymore. Here, guys, here, let's give you some unit of choice tickets. That's what it makes Gumi look like right now. And I just said that it would have just been way easier if they just came out to say it. Either, sorry guys, it's our decision, we're gonna give you 1 unit of choice a month, or come out and say, guys, don't panic, we're gonna give you guys 2 unit of choice tickets on this and this date. Wait for the in-game news. That would appease all of the fire in the community. All right, and then now they have this scarred reputation in mind. People will still, even though we're getting this unit of choice ticket, mark my words, people will still make fun of that. Oh, you remember that unit of choice fiasco? You remember that cash bundle fiasco, right? Even though Gumi came out and apologized for the cash bundle thing, that cash bundle, cash pull or whatever. They came out to apologize and people were like, yay, thanks, but people still make fun of it, right? Forever, this will be scarred because they didn't properly communicate. So one thing, if there's any Gumi developer, someone who knows Gumi, or any, I don't know, who would watch this video, to be honest, and at the very end of this very long video, if you're hearing me, do a better job at communicating with your consumers, all right? I'm in no place to say this because I don't own a gaming company, okay? But trust me, it's better for the consumers, better for the players, and it's also better for you, better for the company. I know there are a lot of you guys watching the video. You guys were not part of the pitchforks and torches kind of crowd. There's always going to be haters out there. Always going to be. But what this unit of choice thing did was it caused like some of our most beloved YouTubers to come out and talk about this as well. It got to the point where the people who defend Gumi usually, or people who usually like say like to the pitchforks and torches people, hey guys, calm down, you know, we don't know what's gonna happen yet, let's see. And you know, we need those voices. But what Gumi has done is lower the confidence of even the people supporting Gumi, and even myself. You guys have known in my past videos, I've always like backed up Gumi and said that Gumi's a different game. I give them every single excuse I could think of, and in that Theorycraft video about the unit of choice, I came out and saying that, you know what, I can't really defend them anymore. They're on their own. So what I did for the entire thing was I kind of sat back. Yes, I interacted with you guys in the YouTube comments and even on Discord about this. You know, some bad choices were made. That's what all I have to say. Now it seems that they're all making it up with a unit of choice ticket in the story event. Now whether that's going to be an all story event, I'm not quite sure. Are they going to be releasing a unit of choice ticket 2 times a month going forward? Are they going to be releasing still 1 unit of choice ticket in the King Mog event? Again, these are all things I would like to know so we get the bigger picture, right? Is this kind of like a 1 month thing so it kind of appeases the fans? I don't know yet. I will say this though, if they do give us 2 unit of choice per month and 1 in the King Mog, 1 in the story event, which usually is about one event per month, you get 4 unit of choice tickets. That's a whole lot better than JP. I know. So there's always going to be people that can complain. It's like, whoa, JP has those fusion of 7-star units. They get 2 unit of choice ticket per 10 units. I'm just saying right now, guys. If going forward we're getting 4 unit of choice tickets a month, it's really good. Let's take it. let's just be happy with it. And in my opinion, I mean, I saw the FFBE official video. I mean, it was talking about Hyoh. It's supposed to be hype, right? I think, like, from what I last saw, I haven't seen the latest numbers. There was like tons of dislikes, tons of comments like, what about the unit of choice tickets? What about unit of choice tickets? I don't know what the status is on that video right now. All I have to say is, yes, Gumi, you really screwed up. And you know, you guys promised on E3 like more communication, right? Shorter maintenance. Like, you're making promises you can't keep. We rather you just not make promises, just don't make promises, and just do a better job. Like, we will see it, right? Don't tell us the maintenance is going to be shorter. Just shorten the maintenance, or just end the maintenance on time. End the maintenance on time. We'll all see it. It's like, hey, haven't you guys noticed for the past 2 months the maintenance has ended on time? Interesting. You don't need to make us blank promises. Anyways, that's my rant for the unit of choice. Overall, very happy about it. So don't get me wrong, guys. Let's celebrate unit of choice tickets. And that is it for the news, guys. That has been a long rant. Forgive me for that unit of choice rant. It was just all the stuff compiled into like 2 weeks worth of information, just compiled and like this release, because the release of the unit of choice. So forgive me for that. I know a lot of you guys on YouTube are saying, Dragon, are you gonna make a theorycraft video or a news video or something about your thoughts on the unit of choice thing? Well, here it is, guys. Hopefully I've done it justice. Hopefully it does make sense. Now obviously I'm always open to discussion, and as you guys have gotten more comfortable in the comments below on YouTube, and even if you're live with me on Discord or even Twitter, you know, interact. You know, I'm usually totally open to your suggestions. Sometimes I am more, you know, let's say, you know, foot on the ground, kind of like on my thoughts. But I am definitely to each their own kind of guy. Are you going to be pulling on this banner? I would assume 98% would say yes. And even in the comments below, Hyoh hype, hashtag Hyoh hype, most likely something like that. Anyways, hopefully you guys have good luck on this week. I will be pulling with 2 other guys, partner pull this week if everything goes well technical wise. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching this very long news video. If you guys have Discord, join the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.